Friends and viewers, Facebook viewers of Stepstone, we once again welcome you all in this evening, and also welcome Mr. Sri Kumar for this live and sharing his knowledge of how changes is happening, how evolving the retirement life itself or retirement living itself. Yeah, actually, when we decided this topic to have evolving changes in retirement living, no, I just want to center context. What we are going to talk about is this actually. Today, we are having a more retired people strength. Even we recently shared in one of our group in Tamil Nadu. I think most of less than age between 25 to 50 is almost only 33%. Whereas in North India, I think we have more younger generation. Mostly South India, we have an elder generation. So it's a time to think about, time to talk about the challenges which senior citizens or retired people is facing, and how as a society or how as we can create an infrastructure, and what are the solutions which is available in the society for the retired people. Actually, we just want to elaborately discuss on this today. With this, I just want to ask you about what is brand Carefinder all about, Mr. Shikumar?
Okay, I mean, very put it in a very simple way. At Carefinder, what we want to do is to find solutions to the day-to-day problems that elders or their caregivers face. Simply put, that is, and our vision is to transform actually the way care is received and given by the families, of people who are taking care of the elders. As you very rightly said, Tamil Nadu has got a significant elder population. Probably it's the third highest population of elder as a as a percentage to the total population, and the challenges are huge. So many primary caregivers are not, physically near their loved ones, and this makes challenges even more difficult for
A
them.
little bit louder, if you don't mind, Chief. If you able to increase some volume.
Yeah, I have increased the volume to the maximum, and I guess there is some issue on the whole this thing. Is it okay now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I said primarily, our work was to ensure that we give solutions to the primary caregivers who are not able to, physically be there next to their loved ones. See, making a choice in such situation can be extremely arduous. And whom do we, where do we go to? Whom do we talk to? And so, essentially, what we thought was that we will bridge this particular gap for people. So that is what Brand Can Finder is all about. To put it in a nutshell, we want to be with the elders and help them find solutions to their problems, spend their day-to-day life a lot more, easily than what they're doing now.
Yeah, I know. I really know met a person like you. And I just want to share about you. Steve Kumar is a kind of person with empathy. Okay, see, someone if is in the industry of no senior living or supporting the senior living, definitely the empathy towards senior citizens very important. I think that Steve Kumar is all about a person with empathy, care, and I think you choose the right profession. You are the right person to give a service to the right elder people. Actually,
Thanks.
what lead you to this care find to find out this care finder? What inspired you? Why you choose this?
See, I came to this industry by choice. It was not a chance. I mean, as you introduced me, I was in the corporate sector for 25 years. But during 2008 and 9, I went through a huge personal challenge in my life. My mother was diagnosed with dementia, and we were in Delhi at that time, and we had to move back to Chennai. At that time, the industry was not as evolved as it is today. So finding the right kind of care, whom to talk to, all these were huge challenges. So those 2 years were absolutely difficult for us, and we were only getting from bad to worse. And then, but what had also happened was there were a lot of people who got together. I mean, many people who faced such challenges, and we used to start talking to each other, finding out how each of them were solving the problem. So somewhere in my mind, I thought that at some stage, I must get into this and I must help a lot of people. I'm not talking, as a martyr or whatever, but I'm saying I thought that the challenges were humongous, and the way I suffered, I thought that many people were in the same boat. So I thought if I could do something to address these, then it could make my life a lot more meaningful. So that's what led me to find Carefinder.
Very, very nice. I think that's an inspiration. I think no. personal inspiration or personal requirement has converted into a business, and that's going to give a solution for a lot more of people. Actually, as a senior citizen, I think very happy for you, Shikma. And I just want to know about, can you show through some light on what is the few challenges that elder or senior citizens today facing in society?
See, I think this is a huge subject and can't be encapsulated in a short time, but I'll touch upon a few challenges that, in my opinion, elders face, because I interact with many of them. I interact with the social groups. I work very closely with the industry forums. I work very closely with the senior citizen groups. So if you look at, I can define challenges in many ways. It is a challenge between an urban elder and a rural elder. It is a challenge that an active elder faces versus an elder who requires help. So the few areas, if I can talk about four critical challenges that elders face. The first one would obviously be the day-to-day living, the challenges that they face on a day-to-day living. Then you have the healthcare challenges, which is common for everybody, but it is more pronounced for the elders, and especially during the times that we are going through now, which is really unprecedented. The challenges have become really humongous. The social challenges, I think that's a very, very important area. The social challenges are huge for the elders. But more than any of these, I think the challenges of being reactive rather than to being a proactive elder, I think that is the biggest challenge that most of the elders face.
Okay, you were talking, when we just explained, you were talking about social challenges actually. Okay, you can throw some light on what are the social challenges actually the senior citizens, or those who are transforming from the normal domestic living to retirement living. Okay, what are the social challenges they are facing actually?
Okay, the transition, at the stage of transition, I think the biggest challenge is that you need to accept that you are moving to that phase. We have all led very active lives, and then suddenly to get into a situation where we are going to, the first thing is, what am I going to do? And you've been used to so many good things in life, and suddenly you feel that your post-retired life is going to be boring. It is not that way at all. But the biggest social challenge as we progress age-wise, and especially in current situations, I would say the single largest one is loneliness and social isolation. I think that is the biggest challenge that elders face. They need to be in peer groups. Are they able to be there? That's a big question, because today's living, even your neighbor you don't know. So the biggest challenge is what do I do, whom do I speak to? That is the kind of challenge that we have. You can even be lonely. That's what I'm saying. Even when your family is there, you can be lonely. So what I call as typically the SOS syndrome, the sense of space. That is what most of the elders suffer from. So the biggest challenge or social challenge, I would say today, is the feeling of isolation or loneliness, and not being in the midst of like-minded people. I think that would be the biggest challenge that elders face.
Only when you're talking about social challenges, the loneliness and SO is the major challenges which you are feeling. The major challenges.
Sense of space, which is quite akin to the loneliness part. Yeah, that's what I said. I said sense of space is again, restricted. I mean, see today, okay, let me give you an example. Today, many of the families are working from home. Okay, so ideally, I would like to believe that the elders are very, very happy because their families are with them, their children are with them, their grandchildren are with them. But actually, the truth is a lot different from the survey that we've done recently. Many of the elders were free from 9:30 to 6 when their children were away or grandchildren were at school. Now, today, they are confined to smaller spaces. They cannot put on the television. They cannot play music as loudly as they used to do because, the people are working from home. So what we thought was a boon, actually, they are actually missing the space. So they are actually isolated even when the families are staying with them. That's what I meant as a sense of space.
So, see, for example, if the elders are living alone, see, kids were not due to maybe of opportunity of career opportunity, they might living in another city or abroad. Okay, so the senior citizens or parents living in alone, what are the challenges they are today facing in the society?
We've already touched upon the social challenges, the need to, meet people, talk to people. I think that is the biggest challenge. So that we'll leave aside because we've already touched upon it. But other biggest challenges, the biggest challenge of a person today, if I look at people are living independently, right? And I'm talking about people who are living independently, as your question is, where the children are away. day-to-day living, procuring things for a day-to-day living is becoming a major challenge. Now there are online deliveries, everything is there, but how many elders are able to adapt to it effectively? It's still a big question. Recently, Times of India, even the Hindu has brought out publications that the elders face living alone or living by themselves in these kind of times. If we have active elders, but we have active elders, we can say, yeah, there are they go on and they meet up with groups, so on and so forth. But the number of other elders are pretty large than these kind of elders. So the challenge is going to be one of the challenges that elders face when they stay by themselves is how do they keep themselves physically and mentally very active. I find, I've come across a number of elders who are staying alone, but they feel that if they are with more people, it would be, they would enjoy life much, much more. And today, with the way things are, the pollution level, the crowd, the traffic. I mean, I'm not talking about the COVID times because COVID is very restrictive, but this is not indicative of the normal times that people are in. They're not able to go out also because of these kind of restrictions. So they are feeling very isolated. The biggest challenge for them is, how do I enjoy my day-to-day life and how do I do it without much of, problems? And there are many solutions for them, but are they aware of all the solutions that they have? No, many of them are not aware of what kind of solutions that they have that they could lead a much better life. And they're not, somewhere they're also mentally reluctant to accept certain facts of life. And there is always a conflict between, I think the challenge is there's always a conflict between a sentiment, something that drives them sentimentally, which could be irrational, towards a solution that is more, which can make their lives far more easier. So the biggest challenge for them is to accept what is available, first to know what is available, how can they live their lives far more happier, and two, how do they embrace that kind of a change without, having those curbs in their mind.
Very nice. And also, I even now read one of your interview or about article in Hindu. Okay, during COVID-19 times, during lockdown, a lot of senior citizens in the urban cities have faced a lot of problems. Actually, no, they even didn't get any caregiver. Also, I think you supported on this crucial stage. I think we could be able to share about that actually.
See, we've actually been extremely busy during the COVID times, and the elders were a very vulnerable lot. 2-3 examples I can give you. One is, we helped a person, we helped a cancer person. This person was staying by himself. He had home care. But the problem was that his son and daughter-in-law had moved, they evicted from US and they came back to India during this time. And the biggest problem was because they came and they had to be under quarantine for about 14 days, the agency which was giving care withdrew. So, and all the relatives also could not come in because these people had come in, so they were not very clear whether, during this confinement time, they could visit the elder. So the biggest challenge these people faced was finding care during this time. So we helped them. We were able to, get care for them. The second care was one of, a very large diplomatic, a person from a diplomatic mission. His father, mother, and his father's sister, his aunt, all in the age group of 82 to 78, were found COVID positive. This was a very, very big, very tricky situation, and they had no place to go. They had to stay by themselves. They had to cook for themselves. Though food was dropped off at the door, it was not a very, very easy situation for them. So these times, elders are, even the healthy elders, for example, even people who had regular nursing and who were not COVID positive had a problem because many of the healthcare agencies, the nurses had to go back to their native places and they have not returned back. So the problems have been quite severe for elders who have been living by themselves. And I'm talking about those elders who needed help. The other elders are there. Their problems are very different for them. Obtaining groceries or obtaining, their utilities, those things have been a problem. But to the others, the problem has become more confounded. It's become, more pronounced in these cases.
Yes, actually, as you said, even a lot of even we are Rotary or NGOs have formed, helping neighbors who are elderly, those want to have buy grocery or they want to buy food, something actually. As a we group of people, is there any inquiry, any elder person is alone, they want any support, I think we grouply done with, I think Rotary also we have done actually. And the happy news is, we had a project, by God's grace, we have completed the project in Pollachi, where we have inmates there. I think they doesn't have this problem. Actually, almost as villas. We had a villas 110 villas in Pollachi, where social distance is automatically maintained. Since it's in a villa, each villa have its own distance. Social distance has been maintained, and people enjoy it because their laborers or their staffs were there to take care of the housekeeping, to take care of their house grocery requirement, and we had a community kitchen. Definitely during like these pandemic situations, communities actually, as you said, the retirement communities has played a major role. What you see when you talk about no, the elder living is very tough in normal society. Okay, what type of living option they have? No, will you be able to explain much on this?
See, you've actually touched upon one important aspect. Retirement community is one of the biggest boons that elders have had, and till date, there's not been one negative report in India. I'm talking about India, about people living in the retirement communities. The retirement communities. I'm actually part of the Association of Senior Living, and they have very very clear guidelines. And many of the retirement communities have actually been very proactive, and they have actually managed to keep their residents absolutely away from the COVID. Some with stringent measures, but these measures were welcomed. I know of a community in Coimbatore, which was such a boon to their children because the children were abroad and the elder person who stayed there had passed away. But the kind of protocols they put in place, believe me, even if the children had been in India, they could not have got that kind of a service. I mean, hats off. So I think the retirement communities is one definite option. Motish, I think let me come to this topic a little more in detail, because today what is happening is, one is an option of a retirement community that is available to a person, and still there is a lot of confusion between an old age home and retirement community. I think that is something that we need to tackle separately. But more importantly, people are increasingly accepting or embracing the concept of living within a community. They know for sure that at a particular stage, their dependency is going to go up. They need to be with like-minded people, and the people who have actually gone there they've actually been the ambassadors for these communities. When the other elders who have been living alone, in fact, the number of people who have inquired with me post-COVID about retirement communities is very, very high. People, especially the children, they feel that if they had taken this step a little earlier, things would have been so different, because they don't have to worry about, because these communities put even communication protocols in place. So I would say that this is a very evolving concept. It is going to catch big time, whether it's going to be to buy or to lease or rent, whatever is the model. But this is definitely a concept that is catching up on people who have experienced it. In fact, a lot of my seniors, I keep telling them to go, when they inquire with me, because we do a lot of counseling. When we tell them to go and stay and experience, but not 2 days, 3 days, we tell them to stay a week, in communities. Most of them actually come back and they immediately, go back to those communities. In fact, I must tell you the example recently of one of the a senior doctor. She lost her husband, and she's from Salem. And in Bangalore, she went to one of the communities after the death. But now the problem is, and initially she went reluctantly, but now the children says that when she comes home, she wants to very clearly ask them when she's going to be sent back again, because she really misses that kind of a comradeship. People find their own groups. They find what they are longing for, whether it's going to be spiritual, whether it's going to be singing, whether it's going to be entertainment, whether it's going to be healthcare. This is absolutely catching on. And I have come across a lot of, I'm not selling a retirement community let people not get it wrong. I'm only saying that in many of these communities, people have reversed ailments. Diabetic people have become far better. I know of a case where a person who could not even walk, because they went through the yoga and other things that was done in that particular community, she's able to stand, walk, clean the place, sweep the place. There is so much of freshness that has come into their life. And whatever said and done, I think the city life is far, far more polluted. And I think retirement community is a very, very good option. And I told you, the second case we deal with of late, we've started interacting with a lot of people who have been in townships, whether it's going to be Neyveli or whether it's going to be ICF or BHEL. These people have been sheltered a lot because they've been staying in an accommodation provided by their employer till their superannuation. The children have all gone out. The biggest problem for them is, once I retire, where do I go? because they don't feel that they're going to be a part of their hometown anymore. So they want to move and be along with their friends. So I think this is one aspect, one I would strongly suggest that people should experience a living community firsthand before they come to any judgment about that. The second one are care homes and care homes. These care homes are essentially for people who cannot independently manage themselves. These could be assisted living facilities or palliative care facilities. Ironically, it is very, very sad that many of the people living abroad with a single parent living here, or two, both their father and mother living there, are not able to take care of them when they are not well. The insurance and the cost of medication is very high overseas. So they are looking at options within India. And sadly, as of now, it is still not risen to the expectations. I mean, I don't think many facilities are available, at least in a place like Tamil Nadu. Yes, you have a few facilities, but the requirements are much, much more. So the second kind of facility I would say is the assisted living facility. The other kind of facilities, as I talked about, are the palliative care and memory care facilities. Today, what happens if you're alone and you're diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's or a memory-related illness? Where are you going to be? The society might not keep you, or the community that you live in may not keep you. So that is a stage where the person has to necessarily move into these kind of care homes. So pretty much I would keep it very simple, suggesting that today people, the options that they have is to live independently. And if they are living independently, they should know, or they should understand what options are available to them to lead their lives peacefully. The second option is moving and being part of a community. Today, it is not, retirement communities are no more, exclusive or isolated communities. Today, there are integrated townships. Most builders today are making sure that they have 2 or 3 blocks for the seniors, so that there is an integration in the whole community. And the elders also want to look at younger people. They don't want to just open the doors to another elder. So that is also evolving very, very, largely. And I told you also one more, a huge transition that is happening. For example, in a place like that, what you have, people want to buy and build and be with their friends. I recently addressed the IIT alumni, and about 25 of them want to procure a land, build, and they want somebody to help them build and manage the space for them. So this community concept is catching up very, very large for people. In fact, so much so that people are now hesitant. They're saying, no, we don't want to go out. We don't want to go and visit our children. Fine if they're coming in, but we're very, very happy over here. So that is my take on the living communities and options available.
Yeah. So as you say, when I can able to recall the people in my community actually, really, post-retirement life, when they are in retirement homes, the project, they really cherish their life. People come with shorts. You can say that they are youngsters. Actually, they will come in shorts. They will chit chat. They will enjoy, like every adult do. Okay, they really cherish their life and their 60 plus. See, in retirement homes and assisted living, you are talking about 2 things. Is there any age factor for these 2 things, or on which criteria they has to elder has to design on retirement home or assisted living? Or it is based on their health?
No, assisted living, there is no doubt it is purely based on your health requirements, and it depends upon the ability of the provider to provide that particular care. If a person is able to take and maintain a Parkinson's patient, essentially these are the people who would require an assisted living facility, right? Many of the builders are upgrading now, having care facilities. But in my opinion, I think care and living are 2 separate aspects. People will get old, though builders will have to provide, or I would say retirement communities will have to keep this factor in mind. I won't hold them totally responsible for managing somebody where a special care is required. So in an assisted care facility, typically, I don't think there is any age factor, because it is purely a reason-led requirement. Living communities, the entry age is very, very less. And today communities have squashed their entry age to 55. There are communities who are letting them get, in even earlier. But there are a few communities, I don't want to name, which have said no to people who are 80 years and above. See, this completely defeats the concept of a senior living. Right now, immediately, as I'm talking, yesterday I had a call from the US. I have a requirement to suggest a facility in Bangalore for a person who's 88 and whose wife is 82. His son is in the US, and they've asked, and they're absolutely healthy. They don't have any problems. When I spoke to a couple of facilities, they were hesitant, saying, "Oh, is it 80? See, we normally don't take people above 80." See, so many of the communities take people. There are some communities which refuse people who are above 80. Now, people can get in and they can become 80. That is not a problem for these communities, but they have an age bar. In my opinion, I don't think there should be an age bar. However old a person is, depending upon this health condition, they should be in a position to take it.
Oh, okay. Very nice, very nice.
Hey friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Facebook for regular updates.